And what's up, guys? Welcome to the Destiny lore stream. My name is parkerquake, and this is Destiny 2. Not Destiny 2. Ooh, Destiny 1 lore. So basically, this is going to be basically a podcast stream. We'll be taking questions. We'll be taking information inputs and all that. So yeah, this is going to be what's going on today. I will be playing through the entire campaign of Destiny once again, but I will not be having my commentary and I will not have my face cam on, as to relive some of the lore. Today, one of our discussion questions is the Helm of Saint 14, which is the helmet I am currently wearing, and that is going to be the backstory. So, yeah. That is what we're going to be doing today. And thank you so much, Chucktown Native, for the host. You are awesome.
And I'm back.
Well. Oh, I did not mean to turn it back on. Oh, there we go. Yo, Prophet, you ready?
Yep, opening it up right now. And
all right.
voila. Wait a few more minutes. And we'll go ahead and get started.
Oh, you're going to join my fire team for this?
Yeah, just for the beginning. Introduce myself, and everybody gets a picture of my hunter with...
I'll just take the stream recording.
Hmm?
I'm just going to take the stream recording instead of record and stream at the same time.
That works for me. Yeah, guys, so I'm Prophet, for those of you that have joined. I really appreciate you coming in. Just to give you a heads up, any questions you guys have, because we have a smaller group with us today, hoping to have more at a later date, ask questions anytime throughout. I'm going to try and go through my bit that I have put up and put together, and once I get through that, we're going to answer y'all's questions, and me and Parker are going to discuss, different areas within the lore that I am trying to cover. This being anything that's related to our good friend Saint 14. So, like I said, guys, if you have any questions or anything, please ask. It's a lot of fun for me to be able to explain what I know so far, because I've spent the last week going over anything that I could find on Saint 14.
Alright, there's your little demo. Okay. We ready to start?
I am. Here we go. Hello, the Guardians and gamers alike, and also the heroes of Olympus. My name is Prophet, and I have a friend with me, from my wonderful gaming community of Olympus Gaming. He is ever so graciously letting me use his stream today. Parker, thank you much.
No problem, dude.
Today, today we're going to be talking about the lore of this game that we all love to hate. We all decided from mostly a few suggestions from people in our community. And what we're going to talk about today, as I said already, is Saint 14. His beginnings were like everyone else's. The Titan Exo was awoken by his ghost, and upon this was given the name Saint, to be known as Saint 14. Saint 14 had been around since the building of the wall around the city, and was also a part of the order of Titans who called themselves the Firebreak. During his time with us in the tower, he was among the leadership in the vanguard, alongside Osiris and the Speaker. He had a strong bond with the Speaker, so close that they called each other father and son. While he was in the vanguard, he fought for the city, and the fight that is spoken of within his legend is the Battle of the Six Fronts and the latter segments of the Twilight Gap. In the midst of battle, Saint 14 was taken up by the throat by the Kell of the House of Devils. The legend says that he could feel his light draining as the Kell held him aloft. He summoned all the light and the power he had left and threw his head forward into the face of the Elixni, splintering its skull. They fell to the ground together, and the earth embraced them. He stood up and took watch over the Kell to ensure its death. He summoned his ghost, and she confirmed that the Kell was not going to give any more resistance. The powerful Titan fell to his knees and tossed aside his helmet as he requested a line to the Speaker. "Is that you, my son?" "Yes, father," Saint 14 replied. He informed him of his victory over the House of Devils, and the Speaker told his son that the city would light the final flare to signal the Devils' retreat. He informed him that Saint 14 would be greeted back in the tower with high praise. As Saint 14 explained to his father that he would not be able to return until he rested. The Speaker was... Sorry guys, give me just a second. The Speaker reminded him of his oath. Saint 14 then asked him if there was more fallen marching on the city. If there was another battle to be won. In the tower, Osiris had been seen on Mercury. The Titan told his father, the Speaker, that they have to, that he will go and... Oh, I'm sorry guys, I'm missing this part. He told the Speaker that he would hold up his oath. As he went, he killed the line with the Speaker. He sat there momentarily, regaining his thoughts and planning his trip out. He notified his ghost and told his ghost, "Set up my Vex arsenal and set a course to Mercury. The old man is going to wake up hell." And that is all that we know of Saint 14 as of right now. There's a lot of speculations on what he has done and since then, and there's a lot of speculation on what happened before that. So does anyone want to ask any questions on our lovely friend here?
I think, well, I don't have any questions from my chat yet. But I do have a question. So why is it that we know of his story? How is it possible that we know his story even though he's gone?
The Vanguard actually held, mostly because when you go into the lore of Destiny, most of the time people find it in the Grimoire cards. And what we find from the Grimoire cards is a lot of times things like the Helm of Saint 14. It explains part of his story. You can go and find the Firebreak armor, which is usually blues and greens, but there's Firebreak armor everywhere, especially when you're a lower grade Titan, and every bit of it has something to either do with the Battle of Six Fronts or battle with the Titan himself, Saint 14. A lot of the stuff has bits and pieces about him. One of my favorite was Saint 14's ring, if anyone's ever seen that. It actually says, "Was there ever a guardian more adored. I think it was more adored by the city, and that was just his. That was one bit of Grimoire that I actually remember and sticks with me. You can also, like I said, go back and all the Grimoire that is available. You can always go find. Ishtar Collective is a great place to find it, and that's where I found a lot of my information. I actually kept reading and found out a lot of the stuff, like how he was really good friends with Osiris. He actually told, he actually stood with Osiris to pull him into the Vanguard. He was he really he pushed for that. So it kind of makes it funny when you look at it like, hey, a lot of people think that Osiris is a bad guy, but in all reality, if you think Sate 14, the most guardian almost all time, was pushing for him to be a part of the Vanguard, it's actually a pretty cool idea.
And so
If
does
you guys do
every
want to read more about it, like I said, the Ishtar Collective.
is there any more like does every piece of gear in Destiny have its own lore, or is it just specific things from the community of Destiny?
So almost every piece of gear has a quote. If you go and look, I'll look at some of my hunter gear that I have right now. My Bones of Ao, they have it's some small quotes like defy extinction.
For
My Helipos vests, they're my dead orbit. It's the sun used to give us life. Now staying near the sun will be our doom. And that's just a few little pieces, and even my helmet, which is a Trials of Osiris helmet, it says, "We watch and we wait and we train." And this is Fractal Scrolls, and what I believe is one of the people from. I believe he is a disciple of Osiris, if I remember correctly. So, like I said, yes, you can find it most of the time in armor, and a lot of times armor, artifacts, weapons even. Some of them have bits and pieces about each characters or weapons in general. Like, I'm pulling up the Ishtar Collective right now. And when you get the Saint 14 helmet, you can go into the Grimoire card of it. And this gives you the story of Saint 14. The Grimoire card itself is in Legends, and it's called Twilight's End. It was added in the Taken King.
So are you saying that the only way to see that that Grimmer card itself, is to have the Taken King expansion?
You will have to have the Taken Kings. Maybe not. Not 100% sure on that. But the Taken King expansion is
Now, even
not where
though,
they added
so
the
even
helmet,
if
'cause
I
that's been
don't
around
have the
since year
game,
one.
if I don't have the game, will this Ishtar Collector still let me view all the lore of Destiny, or is it just do I actually have to play the
Anything.
game?
No, you can look up an Ishtar Collective, and I recommend that to a lot of people. I sat there reading it the other day on my lunch break at work, just finding random people. Dredgen Yor. I looked up Saint 14, Cade. Like, and what it does is you can go into it, and it piles every piece of armor, every gun, everything in the game itself. All you have to do is put in who you want. That'd be me, that being Saint 14, and you can find out everything that the game provides. Uh, when you look at the last word, and you look at Thorn, and you look at the first curse, all three of those guns have references to the Thorn being Dredgen Yor. They all three have, references to their holders, the people that either made the gun or the people that were uh, legended with the gun.
Hmm.
But if I put in Sate 14 right now on Ishtar Collective, I actually get quite a few things.
So for those of you who are asking, or going to
Items,
ask
there's a
this question in post, I know there's going to be some speculation as to what, like, do these items have like abilities and whatnot? Yes. I know that someone is going to ask that question at some point, but yes, not just because it has its own Grimmer score card, but it also has item in Destiny has its own little perks, power-ups to each of the weapons. So that is the main backing behind that.
And Saint 14 was a defender titan. I never explained that, and that was kind of a bit that really didn't make a whole lot of difference to his story, except when you look at his helmet. Saint 14's helmet actually gives you a big perk to your if you were a defender titan, which is, like I said, it's a class in the game if you haven't played it. Um, and what it does, it just makes you pretty much create a shield around you, and essentially looks like a big old bubble.
So I have
And when you wear it, you actually get.
a quick question. So
Good.
in your story, you referenced a group of people called the Firebreak. Can you elaborate any more on who they are?
So the Firebreak Titans were not like a lot of people that I've explained this to thought that the Firebreak Titans were Sunbreaker Titans. The Hammer Carriers is what I mean. They're Hammer Titans is what a lot of the community calls them. But actually, no. The Firebreak Titans were actually a group of Titans. I've probably said that way too many times, but or a group of Firebreak Titans. A group of Titans, sorry, who had an oath. And this is what the speaker reminded him of his oath. And the oath is there. It's called the Firebreak Calculus. And what they say is, if I can take the fight to my enemy, and if I can take the fight to my enemy and stop them there, then I'm making a difference. Instead of defending, like a lot of the Titans do, is they defend. I mean, that's the biggest class about them is the Bubble Titans, the shields. So this order actually decided, you know what, I'm not going to sit around and wait for them to come to me. They decided to start taking the fight to them. And that's what they did. They actually took the fight to they took the fight and made a huge difference in some of the battles. Like after the Battle of Twilight Gap and the battle and
Prophet? I think we just... Prophet, you are lagging out, my bud.
6 friends.
Yeah, his connection's not doing great right now. God damn it. Well, with every stream, you do have technical difficulties, but, yep. Yeah, he crashed, I think. Either that or party chat crashed. Hey, there you are.
It crashed.
Yep.
Sorry, guys.
But, once again, this is a lore stream. We are taking questions about any lore you might want to ask about. Ask any question. No question is stupid. No question is too smart. We will answer them to the best of our ability. Another question I have, maybe for some of the viewers that will be watching this in post, or up on the community, who don't know really much about lore, was Saint 14 the first Defender Titan? Or was he, because we know, for those of you who do not know, Zavala, the main character of the game, what was he? He was a Striker Titan, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
I believe he was a Striker Titan.
So...
No, Saint 14 was not the first, he was not the first Defender Titan. But Saint 14 was a, I got a B. Wonderful. Saint 14 was a Defender Titan. He was a greatly known Defender Titan, because a lot of the people don't know this, but the Vanguard, being the speaker and the leaders, they don't like Void. They do not like the Void. Like, people that use the Void are actually shunned upon. And Osiris, like Saint 14, were both Guardians who used the Void. But Saint 14 was loved because he protected the city. He fought and went out and stood true to the Firebreak oath and went after people. He went out there and did everything he could to stop the fight from getting to the city.
So,
But to
what?
answer your question, no,
Oh,
he was not the original Defender Titan. By no means.
okay. You
He was
mentioned,
actually the 14th iteration of himself.
can you explain that before I ask another question? But yeah, can you explain
So,
the reiteration of himself?
Exos, if you guys have ever played the game, there's three classes of when you create your guardian, you get three species, I guess you could call it. You get Exos, you get Awoken, and you get humans. Awoken are, in a simple way to explain it, are humans who have left Earth and kind of they've evolved, I guess is the best way to put it, and live out in the reef or the meteorite belt of our solar system itself. And they changed, but that's not what the people were focused on. The Exos, which Saint 14 was, um, every time they are reiterated, they get a number on the back. So original Saint 14 was just called Saint, and he would add a 1 or a 0 beside it. Or 1 rather. And then 14, as it goes on, every time he's reiterated, because he kind of they wipe the memory of Saint 14 himself, and he comes back kind of fresh and anew. This is the 14th time that it's happened to him. Now, if you read other people in the game, there's Cade 6. For what I know, and I don't know a whole lot about Cade because I left his lore alone because I really want to study that when I do his story. I want to study it and have like my own reactions to it. He actually, again, same thing, 6 iterations of Cade. The original Cade was Cade 1. And Banshee 44, if you think about that, has been reiterated 44 times. It was the gunsmith at the tower. And what was your second question there,
The
Parker?
second question, you mentioned the Battle of Twilight Gap. Um, what was the Battle of Twilight Gap? Because that comes up in lore a lot. I was actually just reading a bit of lore yesterday. I wasn't really, you know, looking that much into it, but in several articles it did mention the Battle of Twilight Gap. Can you explain that one?
So the Battle of the Twilight Gap was, to put it lightly, was one of the biggest. It was one of the biggest battle that the city had fought to present until the time that it came around. It's actually a battle in recent history of the city, and it is the greatest battle to ever take place there, according to the Grimoire card that I am reading right now. During the Twilight Gap, let me see if I can find it. There's 3 house of fallen enemies, and I can't really go into explain them, but they're fallen enemies. They're another species that are fighting. And they're actually fighting to take, again, something I can't go too delve into because we'll be sitting here for like 8 hours just talking about it. Is the Traveler, and I can talk about him another time if you guys want to hear about that. But the Fallen are fighting against the city because the Traveler has moved to the city and taken up with humans in general. Like I said, the Fallen are a different species, and they want to take them back. Well, they have houses, which I guess you could say, how I explained it was, think about, let's go with Africa, the continent. You have a continent itself, but there's different countries within it. So that's how I explained it, was the fact that all the fallen were fallen, but there was different countries, I guess you could say. There's the House of Kings, the House of Winter, and the House of Devils. There's a couple more houses that I can't go into right now, but these 3 were the main ones that fought at the Twilight Gap. And they attacked the city, and this is also why it's called the Battle of 6 Fronts, because they got attacked from 6 sides. This is actually where the Titan mark comes from. It's the hexagon, and it's divided. Again, something I can't really delve into because I'll be here for a while, but it's where a Titan mark comes from, is the Battle of the 6 Fronts, which is also part of the Battle of Twilight Gap. The remaining fallen houses that were left after the House of Kings and the House of Winter had been eliminated was the House of Devils. They were around the perimeter of the city, and the Devil Walkers that were out there, the tanks essentially of the Fallen, were shooting at the city. They were firing artillery fire, and the city was trying to fire back with their guns. The city, we fought and fought and fought, but the tide finally turned in the city's favor. And some Guardians pushed forward in the counterattack, and they did everything that they could, and actually was led by our Crucible, I guess you could call him Crucible Keeper. I can't remember what his actual name is. His title is Lord Shax. After the battle, there was not a whole lot that I can go into about the battle, but it is one of the first battles that the city had to fight. And it was also the greatest one they had to defend, and they actually succeeded in defending. And that was one reason it's such a big deal, is because we handled a huge onslaught, and we survived. But in the aftermath, most of the outer cities of the outer sections of the city were destroyed, and those were turned into fortifications, so that way we could defend the city better for next time.
And by the city, you mean the last city on Earth, or
the last safe city on Earth? It's actually the one that resides under the Traveler, and the reason that's the last safe city on Earth is because something, again, that we could get into, but we'd be here for 2 days because this is such a vast thing, is the darkness. And you can think of the Traveler as good and the darkness as evil. I mean, that's kind of the best explanation I can give to you on it. But give me a second. I'm trying to think how to say this. The darkness, again, is evil, but I totally lost my train of thought. Isn't that wonderful? Oh, darkness came in, and the Fallen followed, which the species, along with another species called the Hive, and they attacked Earth in general. The last safe city is located is the best place to claim it, being it's near Russia, and that's why we go to the Cosmodrome, for those people that do know lore of the game and actually know explanations of it and the areas. But the last safe city is the last safe city where the Traveler resides, and actually, before the city was proclaimed, there was still a lot of humanity out in the wilds, as they called it. There was a lot of the humans that were getting attacked by the Fallen, attacked by the Hive, and we were losing a lot of people. I mean, a lot of the population of the Earth, and so we actually huddled a mass of them to the city. This being hunters, actually Guardians that would go out in parties in fire teams, people that know the composition of the game, and go out and get them and come back. They would actually take them back to the city to save them and keep them safe throughout. So one of the best parts of that is that you actually can find lore and such on it, and it actually explains, Guardians went out and they went defended in a lot of the bigger battles where we
we have
some characters that
we have a chat question from Mr. Spartan Warrior 96.
What's up?
He says, I have a question on the topic of Titans and the darkness. Do you believe Razil Azir is Dejin Yor? The evidence in Legends Razil Azir, the triumphant fall in Shadows of Yore, seems quite damning.
My personal opinion on who Dredgen Yor was
well, first I'd say let's go back for anyone who does not know who Dejin Yor is. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that name. Who that is. Just so
Dredgen Yor was another character I kind of left the lore alone for when I could go do the story on it. But Dredgen Yor was a Titan, if I remember correctly. What who succumbed to darkness. Meaning he didn't. He was a good guy, meaning he was with the Traveler. He was of the Guardians, and he succumbed to darkness and actually became one of the people who was almost exiled out of the tower. I'm trying not to butcher this story because there's not a whole lot that I know about it, and actually we're gonna cover this today, but we decided just to do Saint 14 today, and we'll do another character upon if you guys want to hear about it. You guys let me or Parker know, and we'll put together one for you, and I'll look it up, and we'll discuss him next week. But my personal opinion is Dredgen Yor was not, Rezlazir. Dredgen Yor was maybe another character we don't know about yet. My hope, my honest to God hope was ever since starting the game and hearing about him was he was a guardian before, but he succumbed to darkness, and he's out in the Cosmodrome. He's on Venus, he's on Mars or the Moon, and he's hiding. And we'll have to come to terms with him and come actually in contact with him, and either one of two things: fight, or we'll actually bring him back to the tower so we can learn from him. The evidence of it from the legends and the grimoire and everything, there was actually some speculation that Saint 14, because he's gone, the city did hold a vigil for him, saying, which the vigil meaning he had passed. But there's no evidence of him passing. When a guardian passes, where they cannot be recovered, when you succumb to the darkness, and your light is no longer enough to bring you back, your ghost returns to the tower. Saint 14's ghost has yet to return. So that leads to speculation there, and a lot of people saying that there was actually speculation that Saint 14 was Dredgen Yor. So, again, another bit where you can go delve into it very deeply. Personally, no. I don't think Rezlazir was Dredgen Yor before. My hope is that he was a guardian no one knew about and was studying the darkness. And, like Toland the Shattered, another guardian who was studying the darkness, studying the hive, and was convening with it to learn more about it, to better fight it. But he was succumbed to it and was actually exiled out of the city before Iryut, if you know lore of the game and where she resides. She resides in Crota's End, which is Crota's another boss within Destiny. It's a raid. Not Dredgen Yor, sorry. Toland went in with a fire team, go into the raid, and he was studying the darkness. He actually went to speak to Iryut, who is the Death Singer. Something I can explain further if you guys want me to. She killed him. She talked to him and it gave him an explanation for something, and she killed him right there. Sorry, that was tangent on Toland, just to explain who he was real quick, but Dredgen Yor being the same kind of guy who was consumed by darkness. I do not believe he was Rezlazir.
Well, thank you so much for the question, Spartan Warrior 96. If you have any other questions, please type them in chat. Do not hesitate. We will try to answer them the best of our ability. But some of the people you mentioned in that last segment, the ones you did not touch on, do you want to explain them, or?
I can go into a few of them, as in. So, I won't go into Toland today. I'm gonna go into someone that is tied to the story of our friend Saint 14. His name was Osiris, and if you guys know the game, the Trials of Osiris. Saint 14 at the very end, as I was explaining in the story, he pushed to get Osiris into the Vanguard. he wanted him to be a part of the leadership. When he went out to talk about when he was fighting in the Battle of Six Fronts, in one of the battles of Six Fronts, because it was a war, essentially as it can be put. There's many battles, but during that war, he saw Osiris, and he was a. If you guys know the lay of the game, he was a Void Walker, meaning he used the Void as a power against the Fallen, the Darkness, and evil in general. He went to Osiris and said, I want you to be in the Vanguard with us. I want you to be a part of the leadership." And he pushed for it, and a lot of people disagreed with Saint Fortina, with his opinion, but they let Osiris become part of it. The problem with Osiris was the fact that he was one of the people, one of the guardians that decided, I am not going to abide by the speaker, who is the leadership over the tower. He, if you think of it, for all intents and purposes, he was the president. I mean, truly. And his rule, how he wanted to fight the darkness, to fight it back, was he wanted to your light, which is your guardian again being good, it's called your light. He wanted your light to overpower the darkness. And he didn't want you to delve in it. He didn't want you to come closer to it, to study it, nothing. He was one of the guys that thought, if I use my power to defend, then I will succeed. But many people, including Osiris and Toland, disagreed, and they said, no, I'm going to study the darkness to understand it better. Know thy enemy, as a lot of people know it. Osiris wanted to do that. He started studying the Vex, which is an enemy of the tower, or the city. He started studying the Vex. He started studying the Hive, the darkness itself, to better understand it. But that got a lot of flack from people within the tower. The speaker didn't like it. He was like, no, you can't do that. You cannot do that. That is something that we don't want that. But being as he was leadership in the Vanguard, you really couldn't just kick him out. So he tolerated it, but he kept going and delving into it and reading more and trying to learn as much as he could. But the problem was, it was against their speaker's rules. So he kind of did it in secret, did it on his own, so that way no one knew about it. No one could really say, hey, you're not supposed to be doing that. So he kept studying the void and kept studying the darkness itself to hopefully better understand it one day, be able to fight better against it. But he actually went to convene with, at the end of the story, as I said, he went to Mercury, which again, as people know, is one of the social space for trials of Osiris, when you actually go flawless within the game. Something I can explain if you guys want to hear about it, but this is kind of more dealing with just Osiris. He went to Mercury to talk to the Vex and to study the darkness better. But being as it was, he left, and Saint 14 and Speaker, Saint 14 was just following the Speaker in how I see it, but Saint 14, the Speaker told Saint 14, our friend, our comrade, has been seen on Mercury. Knowing that Mercury he was going to meet up with the Vex and everything, Saint 14 was like, you can't do that. According to the Speaker, you can't disobey his rules. I need to get you back, because Osiris can awaken something or give the Vex something, in exchange for information on, something simple, like just to understand the darkness better. He could give them a piece of information that could completely decimate the city, and it would be devastating losses. It could destroy, like I said, destroy the city completely. So it's actually Osiris being I love Osiris' story more than most. He didn't listen. He went on his own path, and now we believe he's still alive. I mean, there's nothing to say that he isn't alive. So, and that is one reason the Trials of Osiris is a thing. It's a in-game, I guess you could say, player versus player battle. And in this battle, you fight teams of 3 against each other, and the winning team is the team that has at least one person left alive. It's an elimination style. So if you die, you stay dead unless someone comes up and revives you. But he did that supposedly, and to my understanding, to recruit guardians for his discipleship. He was to be in his discipleship because he wants the guardians to know and to be able to defend themselves against the darkness and to do everything they can to be able to beat it and to hold down the tower, hold down this last city. But the speaker didn't see it that way. He saw him as dealing in, I guess you could say, in the ways of, go back in history, dealing the ways of witchcraft would be the best way to explain it. That's about all I can explain about him, is just the fact that he went against everything that the speaker said. He didn't listen to him. He didn't want to listen to him. He didn't want to do what the speaker said. He wanted to actually make it where he himself learned the darkness better to be able to better defend the city. He left, and people followed him. He actually took a mass with him that were called the Disciples of Osiris. And if you go to the Reef, Brother Vance, being one of the disciples, actually is the one that recruits you for trials.
Based off the last question we got from chat, what is the triumphant fall and shadows of yore?
Let's see real quick. Being as it may, let's just go straight to Ishtar Collective. The Rez Lazir, the Triumphant Fall. So, the trigger clicked. Another empty clip slid from its purchase and dropped to the dark stone floor. It was the last. His rifle was dry. Rezel spun the weapon in his hand, grabbed hard around the barrel like a club. A new wave of chittering death was upon him, fragile but aggressive, overwhelming in their number and oppressive in their rage. The stock of the rifle connected with skull after skull. They caved and fell. Like the others before, the piles of vanquished nightmares, half bone, half dust, grew at Rezel's feet. There was a calm to him, an ease. The chaos of battle was no time to panic. His swing was wide, but measured. No wasted movement. A demon clawed at his back, and then another. They were heavier than their frail frames would suggest. He gave a shrug and a shake and turned around and hammered the stock hard into the side of one creature's temple. So, as long as you guys can hear me, which they should be able to, correct?
Yes.
I'm going to keep reading this while he is attempting to solve his technical problems.
Well, I've got the technical. We're back live.
All right, cool.
Mother.
I want to keep reading parts of this. It's actually quite a long bit. If you really guys do enjoy reading, some of the lore of the game, like I said, the Ishtar Collective, and I'm actually on the page for the Triumphant Fall, and it's Reza Lazir's one of his Grimoire cards. Let's see, where was I? The bloom from each shot lit the cavern with flashes of red heat, a garden of angry roses blossoming in the pointed defiance of this vile, hateful kingdom of shadows. On the far end of the sea of gnashing maws, the wicked woman danced in the air, watching and waiting. Rezel's cannon was loaded and ready to fire as if an afterthought. He let loose another barrage, and 6 more demons slumped, lifeless, upon the pile. The witch unleashed a violent cry, and as quickly as it had begun, the onslaught subsided. The chittering fell from a deafening roar to an eerie chorus humming through the ebon haze just beyond his sight. Rezel stood, straightened his tired back, and took long, deep breaths. The storm had not been weathered. He could feel it in his gut. He stood now, not at peace, within the eye, swirling, terrible lull before the waves came crashing once more. The wicked woman, a horrid grating screeched, followed by footsteps, heavy and hard. Thoom, thoom, thoom. Reza squinted against the darkness. The dark, as he slid new lead into his cannon cylinder. Lead. Sorry guys, I'm really bad at English. He slid new lead into his cannon cylinder. A shape took form, approaching from the deep. A being of might and mass that dwarfed the Titan. A cleaver the size of an ordinary man, bigger, hung effortlessly in its hand. Its body was thick with ornate bone, a living armor that was one with the beast. Reza let out an accepting sigh. The creature walked like a man burdened by untold sin, lumbering and slow, though its stride covered the ground with unnatural ease. To Rezel, the approaching houri cut an imposing silhouette not unlike that of an ancient, disgraced knight. Maybe it had been heroic once. Maybe here in these shadows, to the watchful eyes of the wicked woman and her rotting horde, it was a hero still, only a darker, sinister cause. The thought intrigued Rezel. The thought had come all this way to find the enemy he had hoped was nothing but a legend's lie, seemed eager to greet him. He smiled beneath his helm, then spun his rose with a confident hunter's twirl, before steadying his aim and fanning its hammer one more. The angry bloom lit the dark. 6 shots. Center mass. Rezel's lead pinged off a sudden shimmering wall of black. The knight had conjured a protective barrier, as if from nothing, unable to comprehend the creature's arcane method, dark magic, or unimagined tech, or even a joining of the two. Rezel didn't care. He reloaded and prepared to face the unknown. As the ethereal shield faded, the beast raised its blade and let loose an aggressive, inhumane roar, Hell's own battle cry. Rezel accepted the challenge. His rose gripped tightly in his vice grip. The Titan charged forward. He could feel the shadows rage head on. He would meet the shadows, raged head on. 2 days had passed since Rezel stepped from the dark corridors beneath the moon, back into the light. His ghost pressed him for details time and again. He wanted to know all he could of the wicked woman and her promise of suffering, of the sea of mindless, chittering death, of the hulking night, and Rezel's epic battle. The ghost was enthralled and deeply concerned. If the monsters below the moon were active and aware, the city must be warned. Rezel agreed. As they watched another Earth rise from the lonely quiet of the lunar surface and planned their long journey home, Rezel pulled fragmented bone from the pouch that hung on his left hip, a reminder of the evil that lurked beyond the light, the last remnants of the wicked woman's Barost. And while he recounted once more the events of his time in the shadows, he took his rose from a holster and began grating the bone to its steel frame. Just another trophy from another battle won. It was only later, and far too late, that the whispers came and the bones revealed their true jagged purpose.
And what story was that again?
And that was the triumphant fall. It's the beginning of the Rey Zazir story.
Ah.
So, for people that are wondering, the story that uh, Spartan warrior, correct?
Yes.
The story he is talking about is where Reza Lazir, being who's a Titan, he went into darkness and he took a trophy with him, being it the bone. He had a gun called the Rose. Well, when he put the bone on the gun, uh, darkness was still within that bone. It began talking to him in the most accurate sense of it, how it just explained it. It literally began talking to him in his mind, not out loud, being it. But the thing was, he didn't know that it was really doing it. It's kind of like he felt like it was his conscience, but it wasn't. As everyone knows, this. And the point was, it went from his gun called the Rose, went to the exotic hand cannon that we now know as the Thorn. And there's also a bit of armor and stuff that implies, the Rose. But I have a piece of hunter. It's a hunter artifact, and right now I have it. I'm looking at it right now. And if you guys want, I'll join. I'll pick it up, and I'll join Parker so he can and he can inspect my character, and he can show you what the artifact actually says. If I don't mess up and put it back in my vault after I try to pick it up again. But what the rose says right now is it says, in his strong hand, the man held a rose, and his aura burned bright. That sounds like a reference to our good friend there, Rez Lazier. Are we wrong? Potentially. I mean, but the way it's written is it sounds like, yes, Dredgenor could have been our good friend Rez Lazier before he succumbed to darkness. Now, I'm really excited if they ever do expand on that, but right now it looks like our expansions for Destiny 2, which I'm not going to go crazy far into.
So right now I have the gun
Uh,
that, for those of you who do not know what the Thorn is and are not familiar with Destiny but do like the lore of Destiny, this is the gun that Prophet was just talking about, the Thorn. This is said gun.
and the Thorn is the bane of my existence in the
Oh,
wonderful thing that we call Crucible.
and that's
Good?
nope, Destiny glitch. You pulled me to you.
What'd you do?
You pulled me to you. It's the Destiny glitch.
Oh, wonderful. Well, cool. Well, for guys that are wondering, the Dredgen Your Rose is what I have equipped right now. If you guys would like
Which
to check that
artifact?
out.
Dredgen.
The artifact I have equipped.
Ah. Scory?
Oh, I have scores on like
You.
an ass? I apologize. Let me fix that. I picked it up. I thought I equipped it, but there we go.
There we go. That is said artifact that we are talking about.
But my baby back on. A lot of people love, like I said, the story of that, and a lot of the lore in Destiny is speculation between Dredge and Yor and stuff. We can't 100% proclaim like yes, that was definitely him because there's no 100% evidence. They could Destiny or let me rephrase that. Bungie. Okay, I didn't get kicked. We're good.
Mm.
Um, for the guys that know the game, know that that is a wonderful, know that joke. Bungie kind of did not fill in the lore like they could have. They leave a lot of stuff open-ended. And that's one hard part about the game is the fact that a lot of people like myself, and I know a lot of people in our community, we really just want lore. We want to be able to say, hey, look, this character started here. Let's go with Saint 14, like we talked about earlier, and I gave y'all his full story. Saint 14 started as a guardian, just like the rest of us. He was woken by his ghost, started fighting, became a defender titan, and all this stuff. But excuse my French, where the fuck is he now? No one knows. We can't get an answer. We can't get any. We have no definitive explanation on where he is. So it's kind of. Did I boot? Are you still there?
I'm still here. Yes, I went to go finish the.
Okay, I was gonna say. Um, so it's a little harder to know what's going on within the game. It's kind of sad. It's kind of hard for us to really learn about what's all going on. But truly, I love this game. I would not trade it for anything else. I play this game nonstop. This is my main go-to.
So we'll finish this one last strike, and then we'll wrap this up. This portion of the lore podcast chat. We will be probably having one next week, next Sunday at 12 a.m. Or I'm sorry, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, if you would like us to talk about anything for the future next weekends, do we have any idea of what next weekends would be, Prophet?
That is up to either, if I don't get anything, a suggestion from your community. That is up to the community of us ourselves as Olympus. Personally, what I would love to do next week to pass on from Saint 14 story, I would like to go into delve in more into the Titans and specifically, I was explaining where the Titan mark came from. The Battle of Six Fronts, and to explain where that came from, the four orders of the Titans, and stuff like that. If y'all guys want to hear more about that, like I said, you can find me on Xbox. Send me a message anytime. I will always check them. If you guys if you really want to hear about it, please. I love talking about the lore of this game. I love studying it and hearing, speculation and ideas like, oh my god, this guy does this. I truly love knowing that there is so much stuff that we can do with this game. It's again it's my absolute favorite. But being as it may, right now my idea is to talk more about Titans next week. After that, it's on you guys. We're gonna try and get suggestions from you guys, and if you guys give me a suggestion this week, say, hey, no, I want to do this. You guys got it. I'm 100% down. I will totally read and study whatever you guys want me to.
You can hit me up at Twitter. My Twitter tag is at parkerquake. If you want to hit us up there, you can. If not, you can go to the Destiny community. You can find both of us there. Thank you once again for showing up to the live stream. If you would like to see more, please give that follow button a push. And we will see you guys next time. For now, my name's parkerquake. This is Prophet. And have a great Sunday afternoon. Or whatever day you're watching this on. Have a great time. And we'll see you next time. Peace.